Hey, I'm Pastor Tay, and welcome to this video series called Walk by the Spirit. This is a series based on Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 and 17, where it describes the Christian life as a challenge, in fact, as a conflict between the sin nature in you and the Holy Spirit that now resides in you. And what we've been doing is we've been going over all the key words and phrases, the theological concepts, and technically I'm done, went through 7 videos explaining all of that, and I'm thinking we should keep on going. What do you think? Because I want to give examples throughout the scriptures and life about how this really plays out and confirm the basic teaching of Galatians chapter 5. So again, Galatians chapter 5 verse 16 opens with walk by the Spirit. And so why don't we go for a walk? So this is walk number 8, and it's about confirming that you're gonna fall, you're gonna make a mistake. That's where we ended up, by the way, in video number 7, where their last phrase of verse 17, it says, you do not do what you want. And so we talked about the inevitability of making a mistake, sinning, failing, falling. And so let's look elsewhere to see if this is really going on. I'm thinking about Matthew chapter 26, where Jesus is talking to his disciples, and it was the night of the betrayal. They had finished the Last Supper, and they're about to go into the Garden of Gethsemane. And Judas had already abandoned Jesus at this point. But Jesus then turns to the rest of the disciples and then prophesies, saying that tonight all of you will desert me. In fact, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. And so why don't you take a look at that in your own free time and see that there's an emphasis there on the word all. So Jesus says, all of you will desert me. And then Peter freaks out because he can't imagine ever doing such a thing. And so he uses the word all, saying, even if all would fall away, I never will. And then, of course, all the disciples chimed in. But the reality is, that night, the prophecy came true. They all, Matthew chapter 26, verse 56, they all deserted him. And so now we're talking not 1, not 2, not 3, but they all deserted him. And that includes Judas. And so I want to take this moment and confirm the inevitability of the fall. That's what Galatians chapter 5 is talking about. It ends with that phrase, you do not do what you want. So you're going to fall. You had every intention to stand, but sometimes you're going to fall. And so back in the story in Matthew chapter 26, that night as they're about to go out into the garden, Jesus predicts they're all going to fall. But let's take a moment and organize what is going on there, because there's actually 2 different types of falling. I'm going to use 2 simple words to explain. The first is permanent. The second is temporary. Permanent, temporary. And so what I'm saying is there's a permanent kind of a fall where you fall and you don't get back up. That's Judas. He fell. He fell away, I should say, and he never came back. We know how his life ended tragically. And so there is a permanent kind of fall. And if you fall like that, you were never a believer in the first place. In fact, 1 John chapter 2 verse 19 makes it clear that if you fall and you don't come back, you were never a believer. And so hopefully that is not you or any of your friends or family. There's another type of falling, and that is temporary. Now listen, don't let the word temporary feel like it's a downplay or that I'm saying it's not important. Temporary means that if you fall, again, it's a very serious fall, you're going to be able to get back up again because the Holy Spirit of God is inside you. Don't forget that from Galatians chapter 5. He's in you and he's working. And so there is no way a real believer is going to permanently fall. He's going to fall, but it's going to be temporary. He's going to be able to get back up because the Holy Spirit is working in his heart. Again, that doesn't take away your responsibility to work hard to get back on your feet, right? But a true believer is not going to stay down forever. He's not going to go down for the count. He's actually going to get back up and keep on fighting, okay? And so let me ask you, how are you doing, okay? How's your spiritual life? In your personal life, do you feel like you're falling all the time? Listen, don't be too hard on yourself, okay? Again, I'm not downplaying it. That's what I talked about in video 7. But in video 6, I also mentioned that the Holy Spirit is in you, and so you have every hope to stand back up again, okay? So in your personal life, in your marriage, it might seem like it's breaking, and it might seem like there's no hope and you'll never be able to put the marriage back together again. But God can do great work. His Holy Spirit can instill great hope, and you guys can get back on your feet again. So in your personal life, in your family, your marriage, and in your family, you should be able to get back up again. And that is a confirmation that you are a true believer. So listen, it's not like you fall and you are down for the count. But let's get back up. Let's walk by the Spirit. That's what the video series is about. Walking by the Spirit and trusting that God is going to do a great work in your life. Walk by the Spirit, meaning obey what the Spirit of God is telling you to do. Walk by the Spirit. Do the right thing and don't delay.
Thanks for joining us in a Walk by the Spirit. If you want to continue with us on our walk, click here to subscribe so you know when the next one is ready to enjoy. For counseling services, go to pastortay.com/counseling. And if you want to see where we have walked before, click here. See you next time. May God bless your day.